She took off her shoes in public. Even on the beach, royals are expected to keep their shoes firmly on their feet. But Meghan took off her wedges at Bondi Beach during her and her Prince Harry's tour of Australia. She shared her political views. Legally, members of the British royal family aren't supposed to voice political opinions, as they're a non-political entity. However, Meghan has broken this rule a couple of times. First, she proudly declared herself as a feminist, and then reportedly revealed that she was pro-choice, which I don't think there's an issue with, but others do. She wore a dress with a high slit. The palace prefers that the royals keep their wardrobes conservative, meaning the thigh-high slit that Meghan rocked while visiting Fraser Island in Australia caused some controversy. She wore a super short dress. Yet again, her legs caused issues. This time it was a tuxedo dress that the Duchess wore to performance of Hamilton that had people saying she broke protocol with a short hem. She wore an off-the-shoulder dress. At Trooping the Colour in 2018, which was Meghan's second official appearance after her royal wedding, she opted for an off-the-shoulder Carolina Herrera dress. Some thought it broke the rule that royal women should dress modestly and not show too much skin, especially considering it was a daytime event. She closed her own car door. Royals do some normal things, but it's mostly when they aren't making official appearances. When Meghan closed her own car door during her first solo appearance as the Duchess of Sussex, the internet freaked out. An etiquette expert chimed in on why this was so noteworthy, explaining that when you are a member of the royal family, you have a member of staff to open and close a car door for you. She wore a deep V-neck. Meghan broke the royals' conservative clothing rule when she wore an Oscar de la Renta dress with a deep neckline. She sat with her legs crossed. For royal women, whenever they are sitting down, they're expected to sit with their legs and knees together while having their ankles crossed. Meghan, however, has not abided by those rules, which ultimately broke royal protocol. She wore dark nail polish. It is an unspoken rule that royal women should either wear no nail polish or neutral colors. For example, the Queen was wearing the same light ballet slippers shade by Essie, or no nail polish at all, for 28 years. But Meghan wore dark burgundy polish to the Fashion Awards in December 2018. She and Harry ditched their HRH titles while on tour. Harry and Meghan made their debut as royal family on their South African tour, and they made it clear that they wanted to shake up their image. Meghan and Harry asked fans to skip the HRH and simply refer to them as, well, Meghan and Harry. This was a move that completely dodged royal protocol. Field of Remembrance 2002. The Queen was moved to tears as she attended the opening of the Field of Remembrance at Westminster Abbey in 2002. As she took on her late mother's role, the ceremony held in memory of Britain's war heroes. The open-air service was really missed by the Queen Mother, and she had taken part in the ceremony in 2001. Tears rolled down the Queen's face during a minute's silence after she planted a small wooden cross in remembrance. Following that, there was a walkabout around the churchyard and aspects some of the 19,000 crosses from all over the country which paid tribute to the fallen. The Queen then attended a short service at St. Margaret's Church. When Harry left the royal family, the Queen was left, quote, very hurt and, quote, exhausted by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's decision to step down as senior royals. In the book The New Royals, Queen Elizabeth's Legacy and the Future of the Crown, a source close to the Queen had revealed that the monarch, quote, was exhausted by the turmoil of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's decision to leave the royal family. She was reportedly sad and cried because she felt like she was losing one of her grandsons. The decommissioning of Royal Yacht Britannia in 1997. The Queen famously shed a tear when she attended the decommissioning of the Royal Yacht Britannia during a ceremony in Portsmouth in 1997. Overcome with emotion, she was seen wiping her eyes as her beloved yacht was taken out of service after 22 years. The Queen had a deep personal affection for the vessel, which she had herself launched in April of 1953. It carried the monarch and her family on a number of occasions, both on official and private family voyages. Remembrance Sunday Service 2019. The Queen was seen wiping away a tear during the Remembrance Sunday service at the Cenotaph in 2019 as Britain fell silent to honor Britain's war heroes. The monarch dressed in black and was joined by the Duchess of Cornwall and the Duchess of Cambridge on the balcony above the Whitehall Memorial of the annual ceremony. She looked on as her son Prince Charles praised the wreath of red poppies on the Whitehall Memorial. The Queen last performed the same duty in 2016. The Queen's Ladies-in-Waiting. The Ladies-in-Waiting are an organized hierarchy of close friends and confidants of the Queen who have titles that date from the medieval period. A royal source told the Telegraph about the Queen's response to losing her friends. It has not been a good year for the Queen, losing her husband and then the Duchess of Grafton and now Lady Farham, the source said. They were dear friends who supported the Queen on official duties. Unfortunately, a sad consequence of living a long life is that you have to say goodbye to a lot of people you care about. The source also reported that Her Majesty got emotional when she found out about their passing. Prince Philip's funeral. The Queen held back her undoubted sorrow at the funeral of her husband of 73 years, Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, who passed on April 9th at age 99. The monarch kept her composure as she exited her Bentley and entered St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle, a tiny, stooped figure dressed in black and wearing a matching face mask. She sat alone at the service, her head bowed, and left with the Dean of Windsor, who officiated. Aberfan, 1966. In October 1966, tragedy hit the coaling mining village of Aberfan, South Wales, when a colliery spoil tip located directly above the village slid downhill. The devastating event resulted in the passing of 144 people, 116 of whom were children. One day after the final victim was recovered from the debris, the Queen and Prince Philip traveled to pay their respects to the deceased and their loved ones. It was later reported that waiting 8 days to visit was one of the monarch's biggest regrets. She had appeared visibly moved as she walked around the site of the tragedy with her husband. I think she felt in hindsight that she might have gone there a bit earlier. It was sort of a lesson for us that you need to show sympathy and to be there on the spot, which I think people craved from her, said someone who worked in the royal press office at the time of the tragedy. Princess Diana's funeral. On September 6, millions around the world watched Diana's funeral procession and service at Westminster Abbey. Queen Elizabeth II bowed at her funeral, which no one else did, and she was the queen, so you know that was something very special because she doesn't bow for just anybody. Later that day, her remains were transported home to a family's estate where she was buried. The castle was covered in bouquets of flowers, even more than was placed at the castle after the queen passed away. This photo you're looking at right now are bouquets of flowers left for Princess Diana. It was said that while the Queen bowed, she also got a bit emotional and shed a few tears. A service for fallen soldiers, the Duke of Lancaster Regiment, 2016. The Queen became visibly emotional during a moving service for the fallen soldiers of the Duke of Lancaster Regiment in 2016. The monarch had just returned to her seat, having unveiled a statue in memory of members of the regiment who have passed since it was founded in 2006. The Queen has a deep personal attachment to the Duke of Lancaster Regiment. She is its Colonel-in-Chief and it is also named after her. The Duke of Lancaster is one of the titles bestowed upon the sovereign. Princess Margaret's funeral. At her sister Princess Margaret's funeral in 2002, people who were there and seated near the Queen told Bedell Smith she was, quote, very tearful and, quote, the saddest I've ever seen her. And
we have the BBC film. Producers from the BBC and ITV went to Buckingham Palace in 1968 to film the royal family's domestic lives. The film contained their daily routines, such as eating at the dinner table and even going out as family. The documentary was then titled Royal Family and then was aired in June 1969. The controversial part was that the palace later reversed its decision and pulled the film from airing. Many claim it was because the film was humanizing the Queen and the royal family, but in the end of the day, the Queen banned the film and it was never seen on British TV since 1977. Except now in early 2021, it was supposedly leaked. So it's out there. That's all I'm saying though. Number 9, Oprah with Meghan and Harry. Last year, Oprah had a special interview with both Meghan and Prince Harry, which covered a lot of controversial topics with even more mixed feedback coming from it. So we all know they stepped down as royals in January 2020, so much of the interview covered their situation after leaving. The interview also covered other mental health subjects, especially Meghan's dark thoughts. As well, Meghan critiqued the British monarchy as an institution with comments of racism. After the interview was aired, Buckingham Palace released a statement in response saying, quote, the issues raised, particularly that of race, are concerning. While some recollections may vary, they are taken very seriously and will be addressed by the family privately. Harry, Meghan, and Archie will always be much loved family members. Do we really believe that? I don't think so. Number 8, Prince Harry and David Dimbleby. 2 years after Prince Charles and Diana called it quits back in 1994, Charles had a very serious interview with BBC journalist David Dimbleby. This was the exact interview where Charles announced to the world that he had an affair with Camilla Parker Bowles, causing worldwide backlash. Number 7, Prince Charles and Princess Diana's engagement interview. When Prince Charles announced his engagement with Princess Diana in 1981, the entire world was watching. In the book Diana in Her Own Words, Princess Diana said, quote, we had this ghastly interview the day we announced our engagement, and this ridiculous reporter said, quote, are you in love? And this is exactly what happened. When Charles said whatever love means, it supposedly threw Princess Diana off a lot, basically traumatizing her. Number 6, Sarah Ferguson. In 1996, the Duchess of York had an interview with Oprah, which was also the same year she had a divorce from Prince Andrew. She spoke openly on a lot of scandals, including one of that Prince Andrew giving royal information in exchange for money. Number 5, Meghan Markle, ITV News. While speaking to ITV News for Harry and Meghan in African Journey, a documentary about the couple's royal tour of Southern Africa, the journalist conducting the interview named Tom Bradby then asked Meghan if she was okay. Immediately after asking this, Meghan expressed her gratitude for his willingness to ask such a question. She said, quote, I guess also thank you for asking because not many people have asked if I was okay, but it's a very real thing to be going through behind the scenes. Number 4, Sarah Ferguson, 60 Minutes. Back on this list is Sarah Ferguson, but she'll be stepping out of it literally. In 2018, she had an interview with 60 Minutes Australia, but the moment they showed her footage of her scandal regarding Prince Andrew, she stepped out of the interview completely. Number 3, Prince Harry, NBC News. In more recent news, Prince Harry reportedly blew his chances at getting a spot at Buckingham Palace balcony for himself and wife Meghan Markle for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee after giving an explosive interview to NBC News. So they apparently had a spot before after paying a secret visit to the Queen back in April, but after Prince Harry gave an interview and annoyed his family with some of his remarks, it'll have Prince Harry and Meghan uninvited on that balcony. Number 2, Prince Andrew, BBC Newsnight. In November 2019, Prince Andrew appeared on Newsnight with BBC journalist Emily Maitlis to discuss the Duke of York's alleged close relationship with Jeffrey. Yeah, you get the idea. In the interview, Prince Andrew denied any sort of involvement or knowledge of Jeffrey's crime. The moment after the interview aired, Prince Andrew stepped down from his royal duties, issuing a statement at the time saying, quote, "I have asked Her Majesty if I may step down from public duties for the foreseeable future, and she has given her permission. I continue to unequivocally regret my ill-judged association with Jeffrey." Number 1, Princess Diana panorama interview. Princess Diana sat down with BBC journalist Martin Basher in November 1995 for an interview widely regarded as one of the most significant in UK's broadcasting history. The late royal discussed her time in the royal family, including her divorce from Prince Charles and his previous affair with Camilla Parker Bowles, during which she said the now most famous phrase, "There were 3 of us in this marriage." Many believed her real purpose of the interview was to damage her husband and his entire family's reputation, or just expose the royal family in general. But in reality, all she was doing was speaking the truth. Prince William and Prince Harry were very taken aback from the films and refused to watch it initially, but they eventually did. To this day, they claim the interview created a quote.
Starting off at number 10, Cassie Sumner and Prince Harry. In 2004, Cassie shared a scandalous account of her night with Prince Harry when the two met at London's China White nightclub. Harry at the time was 19 and she was 21. The hookup, however, apparently only lasted that one night. Number 9, Princess Diana and Dottie. Princess Diana's boyfriend Dottie Al-Fayed, whose life was taken in a car accident in 1997, had a supposed reputation of being a playboy during their relationship. His Muslim religion also caused controversy, as his father Muhammad believes they were murdered by the British Secret Service because he was about to marry the mother of the future King of England. Number 8, Prince William and Kate Middleton. Earlier this year, it was reported that Prince William had an affair with a close friend of Kate's named Rose Hanbury. The pretty brunette has 3 children of her own with husband David Rock Savage, was once a popular fixture in the royals' inner circle. Her grandmother had even been a bridesmaid in Queen Elizabeth's wedding. Maybe that's why he felt drawn to her? Number 7, Florence Brudenell and Prince Harry. According to reports from British tabloid The Sun, Harry dated actress and model Florence back in 2011. The two reportedly spent time at her London home in Notting Hill and had secret trysts, which means they were keeping their dating on the low. When the palace had asked about Prince Harry's new girlfriend, a spokesperson said, quote, "We don't comment on the prince's personal life." Number 6, Princess Anne and Mark Phillips. Queen Elizabeth's daughter, Princess Anne, married Lieutenant Mark Phillips. But they didn't get a fairy tale ending, as he reportedly had an affair and fathered a child with a New Zealand woman named Heather Tonkin in 1985. Number 5, Prince Andrew and Virginia Roberts. Alleged intimate slave Virginia Roberts accused Prince Andrew of taking advantage of her when she was a teenager. The palace denied the claims before the suit was later thrown out by a judge. "You're a sick old man!" Sorry, I had to. Number 4, Caroline Flack and Prince Harry. Harry was also linked to X Factor host Caroline Flack in June of 2009. Flack shared her story revealing the two began dating after being set up by a mutual friend. As soon as the relationship went public, however, they quickly called it quits. Once the story got out, that was it. We had to stop seeing each other. I was no longer Caroline Flack TV presenter, I was Caroline Flack, Prince Harry's bit of rough, Caroline said. Number 3, Princess Margaret and Peter Townsend. Queen Elizabeth's sister, Princess Margaret, fell in love with Peter Townsend, a divorced man who was 16 years older than her. If at the time she had chosen to marry him, she would have been forced to give up her royal title. In the end, she did in fact break it off and married Anthony Armstrong Jones, who she divorced from soon after. Number 2, King Charles and Camilla. Yes, she's the queen consort now, but she wasn't always. Before they got married, Charles was married to Princess Diana from 1981 until she passed away in 1997. Princess Diana was the most loved royal, but Charles was spotted sneaking around with Camilla during his marriage with Diana. The two eventually got divorced because, as Diana put it, the relationship was too crowded. Coming in at number 1, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Yes, of course, I had to put this at number 1 on the list. I mean, I'd say this is probably one of the most controversial. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle began quietly dating in 2016, but the relationship quickly became serious. Months after dating, the royal released a rare public statement urging the public to stop harassing Markle and her family. Though the two continued to keep their relationship extremely low-key, they went on a weeks-long African safari holiday together, and Markle accompanied Harry to Pippa Middleton's wedding. After finally meeting the Queen, the couple announced their royal engagement and now have kids together, so clearly this one wasn't just a hookup, but I thought it still deserved a spot on this list.